Straight ahead on 12 News, voters trickled to the polls on primary election day, how voter turnout could impact local races. Then a traffic tangle in Maple Grove.
Well, when it's really busy, it's really hard to see which way the traffic's coming from. It makes it very difficult to turn.
A construction project that's giving people headaches. But first, an outcome to a swindling case that stunned the Golden Valley VFW. 12 News starts right now. A former bookkeeper for the Golden Valley VFW learns her punishment after she admits to stealing from the nonprofit. Becky Held appeared in court today. She was a bookkeeper for the VFW for 25 years. But in the last 4 years, prosecutors say she stole more than $200,000 by writing checks to herself and to certain vendors. She was sentenced today to 1 year in the county workhouse and 5 years probation. In a statement before the court, Held apologized, saying she loved her job and the people she worked with, but was drowning in her gambling addiction. VFW officials say they are satisfied with the sentence.
Well, I think in her way, it's apology, but to the members that were her friends, they thought they were friends, were just kind of runs a little shallow and hollow, but you know, we have to live with the sentence, and the sentence was, I guess, just. You know, a lot of members expected more, but the law is what it is, so we're satisfied.
Held was also ordered to pay back more than $200,000 that she stole. VFW officials say they are on their way to recovering from the financial loss. Today is the second time Minnesotans are voting in an August primary. As expected, the elections are off to a slow start. Renee Bonneau is live at a polling spot in Brooklyn Park with some possible reasons why. Renee?
Mike, poll workers here at Edenbrook Elementary tell me they've only seen about 65 voters here since 7 o'clock this morning. While some people were concerned about moving the primary date from September to August, some people say there are a variety of reasons why there's such low voter turnout for primary elections.
If you can give me the street you live on.
Tuesday morning, voters trickled into Redeemer Lutheran Church in Robbinsdale.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of slow today. I think we just maybe have broke 100, I'm guessing.
We're expecting probably around 1,000 voters today, compared to around 8,000 voters for the general election.
While primary elections determine what names end up on the general election ballot, many voters ignore them.
I think it's important for people to get in the flow of voting every time they get a chance, because it's a real privilege to do that.
Robbinsdale does have 2 key local elections on the ballot that could bring in more voters than usual. 3 candidates are running for the council seat in Ward 1. 4 are in a race to replace the mayor.
We've had a long-standing, wonderful mayor with Mike Holtz, who's now retiring. So we've got a whole new generation coming in. And we're a small town, and a small difference in people's opinions can make a big impact on us.
But despite the city's cues that today is election day, it's just not on a lot of people's radar.
We don't watch the news, and we don't watch TV that much because we have a 2-year-old. So we kind of don't know what's going on most of the time.
Some say having an election at the tail end of summer doesn't help either.
Somebody that's a working family that has, children and juggling their jobs and things, it can be difficult, sure.
I bet a lot more people are out at the lake than worried about the primaries.
The Robbinsdale City Clerk reports that as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, they only had about 900 voters. Now, I'm told that the change in the primary date from September to August really didn't change the numbers that they expect to get in the primaries today. And Mike, I spoke to one voter who said, no excuses. If you don't participate, you don't get to complain. Live in Brooklyn Park, Renee Bonneau, 12 News.
All right, Renee, thank you very much. Wednesday on 12 News, we will have a complete recap of the primary results. That includes city, county, and state primary races. You'll also be able to find election results on our website, 12.tv. Motorists in Maple Grove say they can't wait for the construction season to end, and one project in particular has increased frustration. Weaver Lake Road, just south of Hemlock, has been a busy construction zone this summer, creating headaches for rush hour commuters. While the project is supposed to improve safety, as Sonia Goins reports, some people who live near the construction are worried about accidents.
There's a lot of traffic on this stretch of Weaver Lake Road. Right now, about 10,000 cars travel the road every day. But traffic engineers expect that number to double in the future.
For a 2-lane roadway without left turn lanes, that's pretty busy, and it was really at the capacity of the roadway.
Hennepin County crews are expanding the stretch of Weaver Lake Road.
The county is now widening it so that we have 4 lanes and a left turn lane. at all the intersections.
Some motorists say they can't wait until all the orange signs go away.
Rush hour is the worst, and you have to pull out faster than you want to, and it's scary. Well, when it's really busy, it's really hard to see which way the traffic's coming from. It makes it very difficult to turn.
As of right now, it's chaos, and I think they need to get on it sooner than later.
Some people who live near the project are a little worried. They say the project is a little too close to home, especially with all the kids playing nearby.
I'm very concerned about them. You know, there's a lot of parents that don't stay out and watch them, and there's a lot of kids running around late at night, and all this construction going on, you know. People need to be out here attending to their kids.
They're not allowed to go past the middle tree behind you there, which is probably about, only about 10 feet from the road.
City officials say they've got a plan to make this stretch of roadway safe for pedestrians by extending an underpass on the south side of Weaver Lake Road.
I think that that'll actually be better in the long run because there'll be less traffic, less stuff to worry about.
In Maple Grove, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
And motorists should anticipate some major delays this weekend as crews work on Weaver Lake Road just west of I-94. The roads will be down to one lane in each direction starting Friday at 8 p.m. and lasting until Sunday evening. The entire project should be complete by the end of fall. Well, 4 people from the Northwest Metro are part of one of the largest bank fraud cases that prosecutors have ever seen. The fraud involved hundreds of victims totaling $50 million. Was part of an investigation dubbed Operation Starburst. Those involved in the fraud were 43-year-old Faucio Farah of Brooklyn Park, 50-year-old Jonathan Early of Brooklyn Center, 48-year-old Sundega Roberts of Brooklyn Park, and 35-year-old Adeto Kunbo Adejumo of Osseo. Each pleaded guilty to bank fraud and identity theft charges. The crimes relied on stolen bank account information that was used to open fraudulent accounts. Authorities compare the operation to traditional organized crime because of its complexity and organizational hierarchy. Brooklyn Park's crown jewel could eventually come with a hotel. Monday night, the city's Economic Development Authority approved a preliminary agreement that could lead to a hotel at Edinburgh Golf Course. The city would have the final say on what kind of hotel gets built. There's also several issues that need to be addressed, including where hotel parking would go. EDA Commissioner Mike Trepanier also raised concerns about revenue the city would receive. The project could potentially net the city about $24,000 a year, something Trepanier felt was too low. A former library in Maple Grove could eventually become a daycare and preschool. The library closed 2 years ago when a new, bigger library opened on Main Street. The Hennepin County Board approved a purchase agreement that would allow a Spanish immersion daycare and preschool there. The property was previously slated to become a Walgreens store, but that project fell through. Still ahead, the pest that can leave a troublesome bite, what people need to watch out for when it comes to mosquitoes and West Nile virus. Then later in sports, a local prep girls soccer team is loaded again as they prepare to start defense of their state title. But first, a check of your AccuWeather forecast. Our hot summer isn't over yet. We could reach 90 degrees on Thursday, and with the heat comes a pesky problem. Warmer years tend to put people at greater risk for West Nile virus. In fact, the State Health Department reports 13 confirmed human cases of West Nile so far. And in today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland explains more about the risk and what you can do to protect yourself.
All of a sudden, I just got attacked by mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes are synonymous with Minnesota summers, and not a pleasant sight.
It was really weird because I was just mowing.
Just ask Ken Speak of Maple Grove.
And I mowed right in here, and I pushed the mower in to get that grass under there, and all of a sudden, just like crazy, it was just a cloud of mosquitoes.
He says that afternoon yard work resulted in 100 mosquito bites.
It was all at once. It was just, breathing mosquitoes. It was yuck.
The incident happened 9 years ago, but it's what happened afterward that left him with a clear memory of that day.
I just hurt everywhere. I got a headache. I got my skin hurt, my joints hurt, my muscles hurt, my head hurt.
Researchers eventually determined he contracted West Nile virus.
And it was me, a macho Minnesota male, that was laid low by the thing. I mean...
State health officials say we should expect to see more West Nile cases before summer's end.
Right now we're seeing more cases than we've seen since 2007.
So it will probably end up being one of our busier years for the virus, unfortunately.
Epidemiologist Dave Neitzel blames the hot weather, which creates a greater West Nile risk.
We're definitely still in the peak season for West Nile virus right now, and the mosquito that transmits that virus is active mainly at dusk and dawn. That's when they're out and biting people.
But there are ways to protect yourself from mosquitoes carrying the West Nile virus. Neitzel recommends several different varieties of insect repellents. Repellents that contain up to 30% of the chemical DEET work well. Other effective alternatives include repellents you spray on your skin, such as oil of lemon and eucalyptus, and ones that include the chemical picaridin. There's also a clothing-only alternative that contains the chemical permethrin.
Permethrin is a repellent that not only repels mosquitoes and ticks, but if they come into contact with treated clothing, it kills them.
But it's a nasty thing, man.
Ken Speak wasn't wearing insect repellent that summer day 9 years ago. Now, he's vigilant in making sure others don't make the same mistake.
If you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be exposed to the sun, you put on sunscreen. If you're going to be exposed to mosquitoes, you make sure you put on mosquito repellent.
In Maple Grove, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
State health officials say the peak season for West Nile won't end until our first big frost kills off most of the mosquitoes. However, 80% of people bitten by West Nile infected mosquitoes don't experience any symptoms. Well, still ahead, how getting kids ready for school is a true team effort in Plymouth. But first in sports, we head to Maple Grove to play one of the premier golf courses in the Twin Cities in this week's Ace in the Hole. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back. John Jacobson with Sports Now. We're talking about a soccer program in a high school that has a really good past, and they set the bar pretty high for the new team.
Tough to make this team.
Yeah,
it is very good quality soccer. Few teams in the area in any sport come into a given season with higher expectations than those put upon the Whitesetta girls soccer program. But 6 state titles and 5 runner-up finishes in the last 22 years will do that. Over 100 girls are trying out this week for one of the 4 high school level teams. The defending state class AA champions are loaded again with 15 players returning from the 2011 state championship club. That much experience is a huge asset for the Trojans.
That's by far the largest group that we've ever had coming back. So obviously it gives us a good starting point as far as what we're looking for this year. And when you've got that kind of depth, it's also a nice problem to have. I guess the hard part is going to be trying to find out where everybody's going to play and how much they're going to be able to play.
A lot of us play on the same club teams during the summer. We are used to how we all play together. So we just kind of bring that into high school season. Just finishing off summer season is just kind of like a continuation of that.
All-state midfielder Kylie Schwartz leads the talented group of returning players, while Kiana Nickel and Katie Schultz were both All-State honorable mention a year ago. This team should definitely contend for the Class AA title again.
Oh, definitely. Let's talk about it every single year because I think, Whitesetta always has the high expectations, and we've been to a state championship game the last 3 years, so I think that it's really expected of us this year too. But I don't think we're cocky or going into it expecting anything. I think that's one of our strengths too, is we always, we're always working hard. We're one of the hardest working teams out there.
Whitesetta opens the season at home August 23rd against St. Paul Academy. We wrap up our summertime series Ace in the Hole with a look at some of the Northwest golf courses this summer, and we finish today at one of the top golf destinations in the Twin Cities. We are on the par 4 14th hole at Rush Creek Golf Club in Maple Grove for this week's Ace in the Hole, and joined by Director of Instruction Aaron Jacobson at Rush Creek. And Aaron, before we talk about the tough par 4 14th, tell us a little bit about Rush Creek.
Well, Rush Creek is a championship 18-hole golf course. We've just added a par 3. We call it the Mac 9. We've got a great restaurant in there, the Highlander, do banquets for all types of events, weddings, corporate events. And it's just a great place to come out for instruction as well.
We're on the back 9, as I said, number 14. This is a tough, challenging, a long par 4 from where we're sitting on the gold tees here, 470 yards to the green.
Yeah, it requires a long tee shot. You can spray it a little bit left or right, but the second shot is the critical one. You got to put it up there in position. If you can't get to the green, it's a great hole to lay up and play it like a par 5. Try to get a good number for your third shot to get it close to the hole and have that putt for a par.
All right, let's play number 14.
So I actually hit the fairway here, and I'm right at the 200-yard marker. I got about 205 into the flag. Yeah, again, it's a tough hole. I do recommend if you're out there 230, 240, you pick a club to lay up about the 100-yard marker, and then play your third shot on the green and try to make a par that way. Because if it is very difficult. As you look down there, you can see the marsh out in front of the green with two big bunkers. Makes it real difficult if you're trying to come in from a long distance. So let's hit this and see if we can get a par. Came up just short on my second shot. I got about 10 feet of fringe to cover and then about 40 feet of green to work with here. I'm going to use a pitching wedge, try to land it on the green with a low running shot. Ball should curve to the left as we get up there. Pretty typical green with just slight slopes at Rush Creek, but this green's a little bit bigger than I'd say the average size green out here. There it is. Oh. All right, that's a par the tough way out here on the 14th hole out at Rush Creek. Come on out and see us for a round of golf.
Thanks, Sharon, who is no relation to me, also plays nothing like me. Rush Creek is located on County Road 101 in Maple Grove. To make it tee time, call 763-494-8844. And for more information on the course, you can find them on the web at rushcreek.com. Great golf layout there, and Aaron's been out there for quite a few years and does a nice job with
Was
their
he close to a birdie there? That ball just ran right by the hole?
Yeah, he just ran a little fast up, but he came back nicely and got
that
his
would have been a
four.
nice birdie.
Yeah.
Right. Well, still ahead, a back-to-school supply drive that brings smiles to hundreds of kids. We're back in a moment. The school year is creeping up on us, and back-to-school supply drives are well underway. Supplies like pencils, pens, and notebooks are already piling up at Interfaith Outreach, and people are bringing items in every day. Interfaith Outreach tries to outfit 600 students each year for school, but last year they helped more than 700 kids, and they expect to help even more this year. The hope is that back to school can be an exciting time for every student.
When household budgets are tight and you might create anxiety about not having the right school supplies or tools that a child's going to need, it can create kind of stress and anxiety.
They're especially looking for backpacks, 3-ring binders and folders, graphing or scientific calculators, and USB drives, all for back to school. That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you back here tomorrow starting at 4.